Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa Hart, this is Lisa Hart Fitness, and I'm super excited to say this is week 1, day 1 of our beginner program. So this beginner program will hopefully transition you from the postnatal recovery program that we've been doing for the last 4 weeks and pushing us into our intermediate program at a later point. This beginner program is 8 weeks of workouts. We're going to be starting off with no equipment for the first 2 weeks, then incorporating some resistance bands before moving on to light dumbbells for the last 3 weeks. This workout is designed for anyone who is a beginner, but because there are a lot of moves that we are incorporating from the postnatal recovery program, it is a great program to do if you are still in the early stages of your postnatal recovery. I myself am 12 weeks postpartum today, and I'm really excited to transition from doing recovery-based exercises and incorporating some of those moves into more of a beginner, more normal looking workout. This workout doesn't require any equipment, obviously, it just requires the use of a chair, and that's more from the perspective of safety and also giving us some assistance with some of the more challenging moves. So in 10 seconds we're going to start off with some butt kickers. So keep your feet about shoulder width apart, and off we go. So if you join me in the postnatal recovery program, our butt kickers, as you can see, have slightly more intensity to them, so we're raising up onto the balls of our feet.
I'm going out my mind. Give me some directions to get to you. Ain't gonna waste my time. I know that we got connection. I think
2, 1 into pendulums. So this is a progression on our side taps that we've been doing.
I'm going out of my mind.
And you're just knocking the legs from side to side.
My mind, yeah.
So there's that little bit of a jump in the middle.
You drive me crazy, tell me what to do. I'm on my knees, yeah, I am begging you. I'll break the rules if it will get me to.
In 3, 2, 1, into our modified jumping jacks. So remember to really keep that alignment nice and neutral. Don't stick your bum out for this move. And in 3 seconds we're going into a light skipping move and into our skips.
I'm going out my mind.
So it's not fast and high intensity, we're just shifting our weight from side to side with slight taps. I'll show you from the side.
We got connection, I think about you. For you, my love. You drive me crazy, tell me what to.
This is all about rhythm for this move, and you can use your arms to pretend you've got that jump rope.
The rules if it will get me to.
Into our butt kickers again. So just give yourself a second to reset. And then when you're ready, come back up on the balls of your feet. If this is too much, just keep your feet nice and flat on the floor. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we're going back into our pendulums.
I don't wanna waste no time no more, 'cause I can't get you out of my mind. I can't live without your love for sure. You drive me crazy, tell me what to do. I'm on my knees, yeah, I am begging you. I'll break the.
And in 3, 2, 1, stepping out for our modified jumping jacks. Remember to tuck that in.
We gon' break up, then we make up. Act like we're gonna be friends.
3, 2, 1, back into our skips. So little taps forward.
All over again. Leave it all over again.
You can shift slightly side to side if you want to have more of a challenge, or you can stay central if you want to reduce the intensity.
Then we make up, act like we're gonna be friends. Blaze the fire, take me higher.
And rest. So just everything that you need to. Grab some water if you need some water. We're going to start with some front raises in about 15 seconds. So we're going to get 30 seconds rest between each move, which, trust me, you're going to need as you start going along with these workouts. So for a front raise with no equipment, we're just trying to keep our shoulders nice and down and our arms nice and straight. And off we go.
I don't wanna change who you are. The things you say is always one step too far. But I know that I've played my part. I'm hurting you as well.
So I'll turn to face the front. Make sure you are focusing on your alignment at all times, so your posture, and we're trying to create tension in our arms without the assistance of weights. Okay, and rest. So you've got 30 seconds rest, which gives you enough time to grab your chair. So we're going to do some assisted reverse lunges. We did these in week 4 of the postnatal recovery program. So for this, remember to grab your chair, then step backwards, drop into the lunge, step up and straight back in. If you feel more comfortable, just go straight down into the lunge and return back. In 3, 2, 1.
Fix our broken hearts. Loving me is not so goddamn easy as I.
So I'm going to show you a couple of times the modified version.
You know that we shouldn't keep it up like this. We hurt each other's feelings.
This just helps to maintain stability a bit more. And then this is the advanced version, so straight back down and straight up.
You say it's always one step too far, but I know that I've played my.
We will eventually get rid of this chair. And rest. So next move is our bent over row. So this is why we're going to keep the chair here just for this move. We're going to have a slight tilt. So this is one of the first times that we're really trying to lean forward. And we're going to place one hand by our knee. We're going to row back and then bring it back down to knee level. When we're rowing up, we don't want to hitch up and elevate the shoulder too much. So try and keep a nice 90-degree line with our bicep. Tricep even, not bicep. So stagger that stance. And switch legs and switch arms. If you've done this with weights before, it may feel very strange to not have that added resistance. But we're looking at our alignment first before adding on any resistance. And rest. So, next move, so move your chair out of the way, we're going to do a skipping step. So we're just going to raise up slightly more than we did for our normal marches. It just adds a bit of buoyancy to the moves. If you have any time, make sure that you do tap out between each move, just give yourself some added momentum and reduce that lactic acid build-up. So 3, 2, 1.
Somehow I'll give you my attention. You've got to know that I.
So if you don't feel too confident about really jumping up, you can keep that ball of the foot on the floor at all times. If you feel a bit confident, add a little jump at the top of your move. You can also switch between the two.
Just don't know if I'll dance with the lights on.
So tap that one out, definitely need to. The next one we're going to do is a wall sit. We did this in the postnatal recovery program, but what we're going to do is try to lower our seated position ever so slightly, even if it's like a degree. We just want to try and add a bit more challenge. So resting against your wall, 3, 2, 1. Remember to really push that lower back into the wall.
You're right.
And keep those feet nice and flat on the ground.
I
So think where you are for this one, and on the second round, see if you can possibly sink a little bit lower.
The commitment of a romance, but somehow I need you close. I'll go wherever you go.
2, 1. So use your hands to push up off from the wall, come to standing, and just tap side to side. The next move we're going to do is a shoulder raise to Cuban rotation. So I'm just going to demonstrate for you right now. So we're going to raise up for the shoulder raise until our arms are 90 degrees to the floor, or parallel to the floor. Then we're going to raise up for our Cuban rotations, raise down, back to the floor. In 3, 2, 1.
I'm done with searching for the truth.
So in that Cuban rotation, really aim to squeeze those shoulder blades together.
Avoiding.
This is all about opening our chest out, which we still might have rounded shoulders from having a baby.
Just don't know, I just don't know if I'll dance with the lights on. If you're gonna be moving on solo.
2, 1, and rest. So tap it back out. The next one we're going to do is a squat. So that's one of our most key fundamental moves, and we'll be doing that through the whole program. And we'll be developing it and changing it in different ways. But for now, we're just going to stick with the basic squat. So remember, for the basic squat, just a couple of tips. You want to sink your hips back first, that's why we create the hinge, and then we sink down. When we get stronger, we will be able to do it more fluidly, and we're trying to create that 90-degree angle with the floor. And off we go. So if you don't feel confident with sinking back, remember, hip hinge and then come down.
What is love? I don't understand.
Okay, just adjust if you need to. Anything, grab some water if you need any water. We're going to do a step back to high knee. So this is the idea of reverse lunge to high knee, where it's got mumbled up. So we're just going to step back and then raise our knee up in a high knee raise. And then we switch legs and we go to the other side. We're going to try and hold that high knee for a couple of seconds just to challenge our balance as well. So 3, 2, 1, and step back, high knee, step back, high knee. Take this one nice and slowly.
I know she's winning either way.
Because if you are postnatal like myself and you follow the program, this is the first time doing this move. If not, then you're a beginner. Balance is still compromised when you're standing on one foot. Okay, so tap it out. We're going to do standing section of our full body workout again, and then we're going to come down onto the floor for the last couple of moves, and we'll do that in the circuit in itself. So we're going to go back into those front raises. So remember, for the front raise, when we're coming up, we want to make sure that we are adding tension to those arms. So imagine you've got weights in your hand or a resistance band in your hand that you're trying to pull up.
Nothing will ever be like it was before. She's my runaway girl. Made me chase her halfway around the world, yeah. For her it's just a game I have to play. Oh yeah, I know she's winning either way. Can't let you get away.
Okay, so next we're going to do our assisted reverse lunge. So grab your chair. If you want to increase the intensity, make this move slightly more difficult, more challenging, just eliminate that back step, lower, up, and then together. So just make it more fluid. So tap it out, you can still tap out on the side. So 3, grab your chair, 2, 1. So I'm just going to make this move more fluid now, rather than adding any back stepping. So keeping the chair in place because for our bent over row. For the bent over row, the only way to really challenge this one at the moment is just to have more of a gap between your front and your back leg. So you stagger a little bit more, so we're just going to try and have more of an angle to the floor. When we're doing this, really engage that core, so exhale, contract, and then begin the movement. So 3, contract, 1, go.
Drawn to you, I know you feel the same. You got my heartstrings tangled up. You got my heartstrings.
And switch legs and arms.
Oh, there's something more, but you don't want to admit it. Whoa.
If you need to exhale again, obviously keep exhaling, inhaling. Don't hold the exhale.
You got my heartstrings vibrating for you.
Okay, move the chair. Adjust your mat if you need to. I think I'm alright at the moment. We're going to do a skipping step next. So remember, you can either raise up just onto the heel, onto the ball of your foot, or you can add slightly more of a jump into your move. So 3, 2, 1.
I try to fight you off, but it's so useless. You circle around me like the moon around the earth, always ending with a kiss. I'm clueless. We pretend that we don't really care at all. And then
So next we're going to do a wall sit. Now obviously we haven't got markers, we're not like measuring the height of our child or anything, but if you can think where you were before and possibly sink that wall sit a little bit lower, you should feel more of a stretch and more of a challenge anyway when you just lower it ever so slightly. So tap out, grab your water if you need to, have a seat in your chair if you need to. 3, 2, 1. So sink back. If you can, you might have to adjust your feet. If you need to lower, sometimes pushing your feet forward more allows you that space to drop lower. You can place hands on your legs if you wish, or you can keep them down by your sides. But press that lower back. If you feel that you're arching out, just let your bum slip down. Sounds weird, but it will help create that gap or diminish it. Okay, raising up. So if you're lower, this might be slightly more challenging. Tap it out. We're going to do our shoulder raise into Cuban rotation again. So remember, with the shoulder raise, we're not trying to elevate the shoulders. So even if you're practicing right now, we're trying to see that there is no elevation as we're rotating. And then as we come to the Cuban rotation, we are still keeping that shoulder down. 3, 2, 1.
but I will never stay the same.
Squeeze, and then squeeze at the bottom.
Baby, just so I can make it through the night. Yeah, I will drive and drive and drive and drive, so we can try to make it simple. Try to talk about what's on our mind.
So finish off your move, you've got the 30 seconds, and then tap back out. We're going to do squats again, so remember, hinge at the hips if you need to, drop down into that squat. The only thing that I could say for added challenge is to just hold that squat for a slightly bit longer than what you were doing before. So I will count you in, so you can join in with me on the extra hold, or you can just focus on your hip hinge into your squat. So 3, 2, 1. So hold 1, 2, raise up. 1, 2, raise up.
Spend a few, beating heartache on the move. Sometimes I just wish we knew.
Exhale as you stand up.
Up without losing, but I drive
If you need to,
and drive
hold on to that tummy as you exhale.
through the night.
out. The last move we're going to do is that step back to high knee. So just remember that when we're stepping back, we're keeping it nice and controlled. We're not going to up the intensity in this move just yet, but we will be doing this move again in the future. So start to turn to face the side, add a little bit of motion to it. 2, 1. So just try and make it more fluid this time. You might find there's like a rhythm to the move as you're doing it. So now we're going to come down onto the floor. We're going to do our dead bugs and our bird dogs for this section. So these moves are going to be postnatal friendly, definitely. So we're going to do modified dead bugs first. So come down onto your side, roll onto your back. What I want you to do to get into position is raise one leg and then the other. Place both hands up. We're going to lower down one limb at a time, going round in a clockwise circle, which is that way. So left arm down. We're going to lower the left leg, tap slightly, right leg, and then right arm.
No one can say
Left arm,
was from keeping.
left leg, right leg,
I don't wanna lose,
right arm.
don't wanna lose.
If this is too hard, with the legs, just tap down but don't touch the floor.
Only one thing on my mind.
Okay, bring your knees in, drop one leg at a time, roll over onto your front, quadruped position. So I'm just going to adjust. We're going to do our modified bird dogs. So we're just stretching out in front, not necessarily doing the high bird dog that you might conventionally see. So 3, 2, 1.
Just wanna say you are my new crave. I can do my, I can do my, I can do my own thing. I can do my, I can do my, I can do my, I can do my own thing. I can do my, I can do my, I can do my, I can do my own thing. I can do my, I can do my, I can do my.
Okay, coming down, sorry about the sneeze, coming back down to our backs, back for those dead bugs. So raising one leg up, then the other, then our arms, pressing that lower back into the floor. Feel like you're holding yourself for a long time. 3, 2, 1. So lower down, come back up, drop one leg, tap with the toe before you think of trying to tap with the heel, just because it's easier to reach the floor with your toe than it is with the heel. All times press that back. If you find yourself arching when you're tapping the toe down, only go as far as you can go without compromising your back from lifting up. So hug it in, drop down, roll onto your side, then come up for that bird dog. Hopefully I won't sneeze this time. For the bird dog for development, the best thing that you can do is just try to elevate those arms and legs ever so slightly. But remember, this is early stages, so we're not going to be stretching out forward. And off we go.
Blood on my hands right now, and I'm stumbling through the dark in the dawn. I have found new ways, but no, I can't be the one that you need. Yeah, you know what I've done in the past. Still you say you and I, we can last. I have found new ways.
So cool down. child's pose. Now this is going to be slightly more elevated, so we're going to place our forearms so they're flat on the floor. And then raise ourselves up ever so slightly. Sorry, I'm getting cramp in my foot right now, that's why I'm raising up more. When you start to feel more comfortable, you can sink back into your child's pose.
Me sing along, sing along.
Raising up into quadruped for our cat-cow. So you might have to readjust arms, legs, everything for that move.
Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it over me. We got everything we need, right? Watch me dancing in the colors, light.
So as you feel more fluid, more mobile, really extend that cat-cow.
We got everything we need right here.
Okay, coming sitting with our toes up, we're going to do some toe touches. So we're going to reach forward, but what I want you to make sure you're not doing is rounding and letting your belly fold over. We don't want any spine flexion at this point, so we're trying to keep our back nice and straight. You may find that your flexibility is absolutely shot to pieces at the moment, so just reach as far as you can.
Go, stars align onto your
Take rests as you need,
face, how it tastes.
and then we're going to come around, sit in a V-sit or straddle position as far as your legs feel comfortable. We're just going to sit here for a second, and then we're going to do the next part of the cool down, just because we haven't really done this move yet, so it's just adjusting again. So you can focus on your breathing. So remember, exhale, contract.
We got everything.
Inhale, let everything fill in.
Watch me dancing in the colors, lightning, blowing up a thunder, wash it.
And then our last part of the cool down is just to try and reach our toes. So again, we're not trying to bend too much, we're just trying to extend our range of motion. And then the other side.
Sharing all your deepest dreams, wonder what they really mean, yeah. In the empty body lies all the answers.
So thank you so much for joining me on today's workout. These workouts in the beginner program will not be placed under any postnatal title. The reason for this is that being a postnatal exerciser does not define you for the rest of your life. Yes, you may be in the postnatal section of your life because you've given birth, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's who you are. So being a beginner can be at any point in your life. It just happens to be that these exercises do fit quite comfortably with a postnatal exerciser. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you do give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But for me, it's bye for now.